Good afternoon, all. Thank you for coming out for our November Policy Committee meeting. We're going to jump right into the agenda. Resolution number 1.01. I'm going to hand the floor over to our Deputy Supervisor. We'll give some background on this.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. McCoy and I reviewed the NYSSBA sample policy for student bullying prevention and intervention, student harassment and bullying. And we have a few changes, the major changes with regards to cyberbullying. Everything else we felt was pretty much aligned with what that policy said. So if we had to add the definition of cyberbullying, and then we had to embed it in one other place. So on the first page, you'll see the definition of cyberbullying, which aligns with the definition of harassment. Okay, look at that. Thank you. And then under harassment, we included cyberbullying, and then we adopted the language from the NYSSBA policy because we liked the way it separated it out by the sub letters instead of all in one paragraph. We felt
But it's substantially the same as the old language.
right, but we just like the way it was separated
Yes.
by the letters for our community as well as our principals.
That's not a problem.
Okay, before I go to board members, Margot, is this in line with everything where we need to be with this as far as?
Yes, I mean, it's really substantially the same language with just the A, B, C, D.
And including cyberbullying.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it said before, including cyberbullying.
Okay, but now we made a definition for it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Madam, Carol Manette, any questions?
I read through this and I thought it was very clear. I think parents can understand it very easily. I think kids can understand it very easily. So I think it's something that is really good. I also like, I think it's on the next page or on the page after, where, keep going, please. Reporting. If you keep going to the next page, at the top of that page, you talk about how teachers can get help if they need reporting. And I think that needs to be talked about at opening day, every year, so that we can help people understand what the protocol is when they have to report cyberbullying or whatever bullying.
Yeah, we just added a little bit more information into the policy itself. For example, they have 1 day for an oral report, which is written. So
Right.
Okay.
we threw that into the policy, even though it's practice we have to do in the regulation, put it in the policy.
I've read through it myself and I was very satisfied with it. I like how we're actually coming up to date with the stuff, because cyberbullying is huge, it's big now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I think needs to be, that's not, love the way it's, I hate to use this term, but it's dumbed down. So everybody can understand it, and it's easily accessible for the parents if they go to the site. So I want to say that was a great job. That's going to be read for reading and adoption, Matthew?
I think it should be an adoption,
Okay.
first reading.
First
I don't think
reading.
that it's not a lot of changes that are substantive. It's just basically a few additions.
Okay, so first reading and adoption, Matthew?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. 1.02.
Sure.
What is it?
So 1.02, we're not recommending any changes, but it is a requirement that it's reviewed on an annual basis. So what we're going to try to do is to add the required annual review policies in a couple of different meetings. So this just satisfies a requirement.
So it'll be marked on the bottom, reviewed, no change, and the date.
Yes, thank you.
That's what makes sense. And this policy has worked in this district pretty well, right, Ed?
I'm sorry?
This Title I policy has worked pretty
Oh,
well.
very well.
Yes.
Yes.
Board members, Ms. Beneo, any questions?
The only question I have is on page 3. It's parent representation. I'm wondering if all the buildings have a minimum of 2 parents on their building teams? And how do we know that?
I would have to check with Ms. Peterson, because this isn't for the school leadership team. This is different. This is for the
Building level.
building level planning team for the title funds in the summer.
Oh, in the
That's a-
summer?
This is,
Okay.
yeah.
But Ed, can we check to make sure
I would have to
that
check.
every building has it too? Because it
Yes,
says it in the policy. I want to make sure that we're following protocol and that everything is being done properly.
In addition, when it comes to summer and you need to get the signatures, it's so much easier if you know that it's been done ahead of time, and then you can just roll into July or August and get your signatures when you need to discuss what you need to discuss for the titles.
And there may be two parents on every team, but it doesn't mean that they come to all the meetings. That's the other thing.
We can put that in the weekly for you.
Okay, thank you.
So this will be on the board agenda for the full board reviews.
Correct.
Required.
Correct. Thank you, Matthew. 1.03, Ms. Ford.
Sure. I think this is Mr. McCoy.
As one of the many hats I wear, I'm also the records management officer here. The district needs to have a disaster management plan. We applied for a grant through the New York State Archives pre-COVID. We were awarded the grant. So the work was done by this consultant. His name was William Safferty. He was one of the consultants that was recommended by New York State Archives. So this is a pretty detailed plan of what would happen in the event of a disaster in the district with records. And this is a plan that the district would then have to go step by step to then recreate the records that we have through the backup. So part of the agreement, or part of the grant that we won, was to create this plan. So that's one. And then the other part of the grant was for fireproof cabinets for the records room downstairs in the locker room.
Right.
So it was about it was under $30,000 the total grant. The consultant was $10,000 to write this management plan, and the rest of the money will be spent on the fireproof cabinets for the records downstairs.
Thank you.
But this plan needs to be adopted by the full board, and then once we get it adopted, we can get the consultant paid for this.
Thank you. Ms. Mineo, any questions?
I have two comments, and one comment is on page 8. The library building is located at 124 Grand Street in Newburgh's downtown neighborhood district. I prefer just the city of Newburgh rather than that. I think this gives a different connotation. And I think if we're just saying where we are, we're in the city of Newburgh, and that's where we are, and that's what it should be, plain and simple. So I'd like to recommend that change on there, and it's up there on the screen.
Okay.
The other thing is, I have a question. They talk about where we secure our computers and where the computers are, all the information is housed, and they're very explicit about where it is. And I'm wondering, is that something that we should do, or should we be a little bit more nebulous about where they are? Because now we have people who have the ability to go and steal our information, steal our data, steal other people's data, and there's a lot of data that is stored there. So I'm wondering, because they put exactly where it is, and I'm not going to repeat it because I know that I'm live, on the air. I think we should think about whether or not that we need to be that specific about where the servers are.
Margaret, do we need to be that explicit?
Well, I think you know where the servers are, the people who are working in the district. I would think that Ms. Mineo is correct that, it's a risk.
Right.
So I would take out the location. That's a good pickup.
It's somewhere in there. I'm not exact. It's a couple of places. So
Can you take care of that for us?
it could be housed at a school
Yes.
or housed in the
I agree
district.
with you
Right.
100%.
In
Thank you.
various locations in the district, whatever.
And I'm sorry, it's nitpicky, but
No,
those
it's not
things
nitpicky.
kind of jumped out at me as I was reading. So
We got to understand times we're in today. Any other questions? Okay. 1.04. Mr. Ford.
So this is not a policy. This is following a policy. GAM's High Tech Magnet would like to change their name to Gidney Avenue Memorial School.
And then we have to let SED know.
Right, but we have to get it approved by the board
Yes.
first. So once I do and I have the resolution that's approved, then I send it to SED through the portal. We asked Mr. Glowacki for evidence that it would be something supported by his faculty, staff, and families. So he did do a survey. He had 72 staff members respond, and 100% of the 72 want the change. And out of the parents, he received 59 responsive to the survey, and 69.5% of them agree.
That's
So I believe we have the backup to take this out.
Thank you. Madam,
I know that the
Ma'am.
teachers at GAMS always thought that high tech was kind of odd words to have in the title of the school, especially since in the beginning, perhaps they had a large amount of technology and perhaps they were more advanced technologically.
Right.
Or perhaps they were using the word technology to mean building things at that time. So I understand what the teachers want and I will agree to that.
I too agree.
Thank you.
1.05, Mr.
This is our last item. This is for consideration of the board. I am recommending that we engage with NISBA to do the policy reviews and pay them to do the review to update the policies. Getting a little nervous because we're all really busy. There's a lot of things coming at us, and as a result of changes with regards to the pandemic, I don't want us to get far behind on our policies.
Are we still getting updates from them?
Yes.
Okay, because I have updates from.
Yeah, I know that with changes in staffing, Mr. McCoy going to a new position, having a new clerk come in, I think it's in the best interest of the district to have the dedicated support from NISBA to work with me to really get us caught up. And then once we're caught up, then I think maintaining it would be fine. I'm just getting a little concerned that I don't want to miss anything. So I would like to engage with NISBA to get this service to assist in the design, in the review and cleanup of our policies, and then we should be good by hopefully July 1st.
Ms. Maneo, comments, questions?
No, I know what a bear it is to go through that book and, well, it used to be a book, go through all the policies and really have to adjust and realign some of them. So I think that would be a good thing to do.
Question, Mr. Ford, what's the cost for a service like that? And what does that
If I
service look?
read it right, $10,000.
Okay.
Because we are a member, correct?
Yes.
And what is the timeline for something like that? Did they give you one?
It's probably going to be over a year.
Over a year? Okay. All right, thank you. That's our agenda for today. Thank you for coming out.
Can I add one thing to the agenda as a reminder?
Yes.
And this is something else. This is about the library. We got something about the library trustee training, and I'll send it to you, Matthew. All board members, because we're all trustees of the library, have to go to this training. It looks like it's 4 Tuesdays, and it's an hour each, so it's a 4-hour training, correct?
Not virtual?
Is it
It's
virtual?
virtual.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe starting in January 1st of 2023, you must take, I think it's 2 hours a year. So it's more, but we'll check, but yeah.
I'll send this,
Yeah, but there's multiple, the RCLS, your consortium that runs the 47 libraries, will offer multiple times throughout the year. So that thing that you got today is not going to be the only time that you have to take the training. But it also has to do with people that are appointed on the board, I believe, after January
Right.
1st. So I think you might be, but I'll check.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, but I will send it to you.
No problem.
All right, thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Can I ask that some of the 8,000s policies be on the next meeting so we can update, because they're no longer annual visual inspections? It's like 80, 110, 8220, 80, something like that. But there are 3, and also the district-wide safety plans. So there are just a couple of,
Those I want to work on a little bit with Mr. Tyndall.
Okay.
So yes, we.
so I just think we
those.
should probably do that.
Sure.
And the next policy meeting will be on, if you guys are okay with that, December 1st. It was originally scheduled for the 8th. Mr. Ford will be out of the district on that day. So if it's okay with the committee, the December 1st will be the policy committee meeting for the month of December.
It's like tomorrow. Just kidding.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
That's fine.